Hi, it's day 5, Schoolies on the Gold Coast, and it's been a great week of sharing the good news about Jesus Christ with a wonderful team of people who are like-minded. Today I met a lady who's come all the way from Singapore. She's over here on a nursing prac. 3 weeks ago she said that her daughter and her got invited to a church service and they heard the gospel, but she didn't understand it, but her daughter did, and her daughter was asking her questions, and she said, I don't know how to answer those questions. Today we stopped her in the street and asked her where she'd go if she died. And she was on her way to the post office, and we said to her, look, we'll be here, we'll wait for you to come back. And she came back, found us, and she was just so receptive to come and to an understanding that, of what Jesus has done for us. And so she's planning. Her husband actually doesn't let her go to any church services, and he doesn't want her to read the Bible, but she's open to reading it during her lunch times at work while she's having her lunch break. So will we please pray for Crystal? She's hasn't made a definitive decision to trust that Jesus has died for her sin, but she understands that that is the gospel. Praise the Lord for that.
Let your kingdom come, let your will be done, so that everyone might know your name.
Last night I was looking for a few stragglers here and there who were ducking in or straying from other conversations. I ended up catching Harrison. Harrison early on stated that his mother is a Jehovah's Witness, but he doesn't believe in God at all. Anyway, I showed him the building builder analogy, that we know God exists and therefore that God sets the rules because he's the owner of the universe, and then tested him by God's law and found out that, like everyone else, he is guilty and deserving of hell. I also had to do a little bit of apologetics to show him how we know hell exists and why it's so severe and so serious, and he came to grasp that, even though his mother, a Jehovah's Witness, says that it doesn't. And then I asked him, so how does someone who deserves hell get into heaven? He had the usual, try and be better, try and do more good things, and we showed how that wouldn't work. And then I went on to explain that there is good news, that even though we're guilty and we deserve hell, there is a way for sinners to be forgiven. Now, the best part of that is that after him understanding the gospel, he said, I'm really going to have to think about this. I'm keen to know more, so I gave him a Gospel of John, a tract, and headed off. But then I looked around this afternoon and Ryan was chatting to him again.
May Jesus Christ be known wherever we are. We ask not for ourselves, but for your renown. The cross has saved us, so we pray your kingdom come.
I was able to go over the gospel again with him. He grasped it better. He said he's been pondering it, but he really loves his sin. He said that he loves alcohol, he loves sexual immorality and things like that. And so I was really able to challenge him and say, what's more important, your soul or the momentary pleasures of sin? I said, look, when you go back to your unit, your friends are probably going to be like, hey, let's do some bad stuff, let's do some sins. What are you going to do? And he's like, oh, but they're my boys, they're the ones, I do whatever they do. Is it better to keep your friends and get sent to hell, or to lose them and gain heaven? Jesus says, if your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out and cast it from you. It's better that you enter heaven with one eye than with both eyes and get sent to hell. And so he was weighing it up, he was counting the cost, realizing he could tell me very clearly, the only way I get to heaven is by trusting that Jesus paid for my sin. But he understood that if I trust Jesus paid for my sin, I can't be like, I'll trust in Jesus and I'll have my sins too. He saw trusting in Jesus would cause him to give up his sins. And so please pray for Harrison. Pray that he really sees the urgency of this, that he could die at any time, and the worth of knowing that his sins are forgiven, that he's going to heaven. May he see that worth, and may he see the worthlessness of living in sin and rejecting Christ.